I can send it to the other. True. All right, let me.
Send it to the,
I just sent it again to the other one.
okay. Take a date I am on. Let's see. I'll also send it.
All right, let me see.
Michael, I got it through my WhatsApp and nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, so when you click on it, you say nothing happening.
Nothing shows up.
Wow.
Now I saw that you sent an open broadcast. Extending the invitation to persons.
Yeah, but
Let me see if I can find
you should
it.
be saying when you click on it, you should be saying you are entering a broadcast
It's saying,
studio.
on this weekend's talk show, this is another email, and you have a live streaming link.
No, not that. What I sent you is
No.
it's just like how we did it the last time. You just click on it, and you should be saying enter in the broadcast. You're putting your name.
StreamYard.com. You just sent me the link again at 12:57.
Yeah.
Nothing is happening. Let me try my other phone. So something is happening on my Apple phone, so that's a good sign. Let's see. Allow my access.
Yeah.
Allow.
Make sure your camera, everything, put in your name and turn the phone.
Okay, so it's happening on. It's not working on my Android. It's working
Okay.
on my Apple. So that's a good thing. Can you see me?
Not yet. You have to enter the studio.
Pardon?
Have you entered the studio or enter? You have to press enter.
Yeah.
All right, I'm seeing you now. All right. So yeah. So let me take off this. All right, let me take off this. Okie dokes. All right. All right. So stand by. Okay, good afternoon and welcome to our Saturday Sports Special, where we speak to the movers and shakers in sports, the sportsmen, sportswomen, sports administrators, just about everyone involved in sports. And on this weekend program, as we indicated, we'll be speaking with the president of the Bahamas Athletic Association. That's Mr. Drumeco Archer, and we'll try to make contact with them remotely because a lot's happening in sports, especially in track and field. And the NACAC Open Championships scheduled for Freeport in the Bahamas this year. In fact, in just a few weeks, probably 2 weeks' time, we'll get all the information about it. And it's very important for the NACAC region because it's the same weekend we have the European Championships, for example, and therefore it's what we call an open window. You know, like how you have the FIFA window, there's an open window for world athletics, and therefore there is expecting, that's just the expectation, that as many top track and field athletes in the NACAC region will be able to participate for the first time too, they're offering prize monies, and there's also the possibility of the athletes getting a berth, winning a berth for next year's World Athletics Championship in Budapest. So a lot in store for athletes competing in the NACAC Open Championship. So we'll be speaking to Mr. Archer about that and other things relating to they preparing to host the character games, as we know, and there's so many other things happening in track and field in the region. As we know, the Commonwealth Games ongoing, NACAC or athletes from the region participating in the Commonwealth Games. Then there is the World Under 20 Championships in Cali, Colombia, also taking place, and just a lot happening. And we attempted to make contact with Mr. Archer some time ago, and then we had to abort after a while because we had some technical problems. And then we were getting into some very important issues relating to track and field, not just in the Bahamas, but in the Caribbean. Let me see if I can make contact with Mr. Archer, who's somewhere in the Bahamas. Um, Good afternoon to you, Mr. Archer.
Good afternoon. How are you, Michael?
Well, I'm okay. I know you're somewhere remote and so much happening, but again, I have to thank you for taking the time off to speak to me once again because a lot's happening. Some people may not like what they're seeing in the background in terms of the beach and all these sort of things. They depending on where they are, they might be saying, "Hey, this guy is teasing us," and things like that. But it's always nice to see the Bahamas, I should say. So how things going on your side?
Things are quite well. Thank you for asking. In fact, I'm on the lovely property of the Grand Lucayan hotel property, which is where the Games Village will take place. And so I'm happy to be able to show what the athletes will be enjoying once they come to Freeport, Grand Bahama.
I know, yeah.
We're just
So
doing a site visit. And
yeah,
of course, the property is divided into two parts. One is the lighthouse point, and then on the other side would be what they call Breaker's Key. And
mhm.
all of them share the same views and amenities. And so it's a wonderful property, and we're happy to host here in Freeport, Grand Bahama.
Yeah. I know it's always a pleasure hearing about parts of the Bahamas and Freeport. And for those who don't know, um, Freeport itself is not on the main island itself, no?
No, the
Right.
Bahamas is a makeup of a chain of islands. It's an
Yeah.
archipelago,
Right.
and Freeport is considered the second city because it is the city that has the second largest population within the Bahamas. New
Right.
Providence first, and then Grand Bahama.
That's the Bahamas.
And you should also know an interesting fact about Freeport. Freeport has really driven the area of track and field in so many different ways, being able to identify a host of great athletes that come from Freeport, Grand Bahama. And so we always sometimes dub it as Track and Field City.
City, yeah. And rightly so, Track and Field City will host the NACAC Open Championships starting on April, 19th, I think? 19th to
August.
21st. Yeah, August, sorry, I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, August 19th to the 21st. And, I said in the opening that it's important because it's taking place at the same time, which is considered an open window, right? As how I said, like FIFA has an open window where international friendlies, whatever, can take place. Same thing with the NACAC Open Championships. I think it's the European Championships that will be taking place around that time.
That's
So,
correct.
so it's an opportunity for the athletes of NACAC to participate. There is no commitment in terms of participating in any meets at that time. So, first of all, how preparations are going for staging the NACAC Open Championships in the
You know, if you ask me about how preparation goes, then I'll have to take you backstage, right?
Bahamas? That's not a problem.
You know, there's always work to be done.
Mhm.
We have a beautiful property that we're going to be hosting the athletes on. And of course, if you've been to Grand Bahama, we have a Mondo track. It's a very fast track,
Mhm.
but because of the size and scale of events that take place in Grand Bahama, it is not the size of the facility in New Providence. It's a very intimate stadium. Sometimes if you can compare the LA Coliseum to Oregon, that may put things into context. But I believe that it is a facility that the athletes will find friendly and warm, and it will make for great competition.
Well, good to hear that. And in terms of, and I don't know if it's early to say that, but in terms of participation, have you had what I would say positive responses from the NACAC members regarding their athlete? One, no, first of all, their participation in terms of the territories, and then the athletes' participation as well.
Yeah, I think that. One second. The last championships was held in Toronto, and there was a total team size of, I think, 424, which included athletes and team officials. To date, we have a count of, I believe, that exceeds 420 now, of only athletes. And so, what one would describe, this would be described as a banner number for NACAC in terms of its numbers, and we're expecting wholesome numbers. I think that the U.S. alone has identified 120 plus athletes that will be participating in these games. Canada has, I think, nearing the numbers of 50, and of course, we have fulsome numbers throughout the region. So, I believe that this is going to be a really exciting event. This is the very last event of a very long season, a very active season. And so we're hoping that this, one thing that's always missing from our sport is this element of sports and entertainment. And that's one of the things that the Bahamas has really focused on doing and trying to do well, so as to create a brand of sport, not just in the Bahamas, but throughout the area, as one of those places that will always be seen as a choice location for the sport itself. And so, it's more than just numbers. It's about the content, the quality of the meat, and the branding of this event. And we believe that we will continue to have good branding from this edition of the games.
All right. Just before we continue now, your face is getting a bit dark now. I think it's so bright on the outside at the back of you
Maybe I
that
should change position.
well, yeah. But even before that, I want to say thanks for that view at the back. It was a wonderful view at the
How
back.
about
Yeah,
that?
yeah, something like that. It's just that the view at the back was
Dark.
so bright that it was taken away from you. But thanks for that view there. But
Is that better?
yeah, that is okay, and thanks for that. Yeah,
You put me in the sun, right?
yeah, nice coconut trees and things like that. So, but in terms of quality, what can folks look forward to in terms of quality track and field at the NACAC Open Championships this year?
Well, it's difficult to really give an answer just yet, only because we're now refining and finalizing the team sizes and the entry system. And so now, beyond the numbers, we're now beginning to call the names of the participants that are going to be coming to the NACAC Open Championships. And so I would be able to provide you with more detail in the incoming days shortly. But what I can say is that, we do have some star-studded athletes whose names have been bantering around. We've not gotten any real confirmation as yet, but I'm being told that Sharika Jackson will be coming to the NACAC Open Championships. And as according to our roster on the Bahamian side, we have the commitment from Shawnee Miller-Rebo, who will also be contesting. We're still not sure which events, but she'll be competing at the NACAC Open Championships as well.
Any news on Stevie?
It was a valiant effort on Steven's part to try to get back to the games and come back into full form, but We're now recently being told that he will not make it to the games because he's not fully recovered.
Mhm. But outside of Stevie and Shawnee, I'm certain that the Bahamas has a cadre of quality athletes that can, can fill their shoes, right?
Every day we're trying to build a program that comprises of both old and new. And we're so pleased to see some of the fine performances coming from our athletes from World Juniors, and in particular Anton Andrews, who won the gold medal at the
In the
World
huddle,
Juniors in the 110 hurdles.
right?
He certainly will be making the roster for the NACAC Open Championships, and so I think that in and of itself is excellent news. Keyshawn Strawn is also going to be participating. He is a bronze medalist um, in the men's javelin throw, and so we'll have a combination of both junior athletes and elite athletes competing all on the same stage.
Mhm. What can fans look forward to in terms of, well, I shouldn't say fans, the athletes first. I'll come on to the fans later, but the athletes can look forward to in terms of their participation in the NACAC Championships, because I heard that there's a possibility of them getting berth onto the for the World Championships in Budapest come next year.
That's correct. There are specific events that will allow an athlete an automatic berth. The winners of those events to have automatic berths to Budapest. I believe the 100 meters is one of those categories. The relays, men and women, 4x1 and 4x4. Those are some of the events that will give you an automatic berth to Budapest as gold medal winners here at NAC Championships. And of course, as you mentioned earlier, World Athletics schedule has been strategically done so as to stimulate greater participation at area championships by vacating their schedule and the Diamond League schedule to allow all athletes the fullest opportunity to compete at their area championships. And so I think that that's a rewarding thing for the entire World Athletics community, but also more particularly so for NACAC. And of course, as you have mentioned, this would be the first time that we will be providing prize money to these championships. And I think that that's a really wonderful incentive. And hoping that we can continue to grow, but this becoming the stimulus for the sport is a great initiative for the organizing committee as well.
Wow. It's nice to hear all of that, and I'm certain that the fans, including those in the Bahamas, will certainly be looking forward to seeing top track and field in Freeport. Not to say that the Bahamas have never been able to attract large crowds, but what is the sort of feedback you're getting from spectators and the public in particular regarding the hosting of the NACAC Open Championships?
You know, I always say this, and I don't say this in a facetious way. This is the fourth edition of NACAC, and NACAC for track and field aficionados, we understand what that brand represents. Unlike a brand like Carifta Games, where everyone knows because of its goodwill, everyone knows what Carifta represents to the region. And so, as a part of a rebranding exercise of the area championships, we are promoting this as if this is really the biggest track and field meet that will ever be held in its size and context here in the Bahamas, with Freeport Grand Bahama being the host. And so, Freeport track and field community and the Freeport community at large event and participating as spectators here in Freeport. So I'm looking forward to a full crowd for the next 3 days of competition.
Okay. And that'll be 3 days of good competition. But outside of the Bahamas, will the track and field be available for fans to see or watch?
We're finding association prime character.
Drumeco, I think we losing your audio. Somehow we losing your audio.
That's aren't completely fine.
Okay, I think because you're probably moving, we sort of start losing connection. We're trying to stable the connectivity. You were saying about the broadcast, the possibility of broadcast outside of the Bahamas. Yeah.
Yeah, we want the.
Drumeco, I think because you're moving, we losing connection. If you can just try to stabilize position, we'll be able to. Well, okay then. All right. Let me see if I can get Drumeco back on there. I think he's sort of moving around in his location. I know he said he was somehow in the well, he's at the facility, and it was like on the beach side of it, and I think he was sort of moving around, so we were losing sort of connection for a while, but hopefully he gets back on, and he's speaking about that. But just to reiterate about the NACAC Open Championships, starts on the 19th of August, which is Friday the 19th of August, and it goes until the Sunday, the 21st. It'll be taking place the same weekend as the European Championships. Well, around the same time of that. I think the European Championships is probably over 4 or 5 days, But it's interesting because it's the same time with the there's no Diamond League or any of those international track and field competitions. So there's a possibility of some of the top NACAC stars competing. You already mentioned that of Shericka Jackson from Jamaica, Shauna Miller from the Bahamas also, and there are one or two others that they're hoping to finalize in terms of participation. Some of the final entries are still being organized, I should say. I believe they do have the entries, but they just have not made it public as yet. But it's good to know that they're getting the participation of some of the top athletes. I know some of them have been, skipping, especially like for the Commonwealth Games. Some of the top stars have skipped that in lieu of the Diamond League, and there are those like, Shawnee Miller and others who have decided that they will participate in the NACAC Open Championships, while some of them decided to skip the Commonwealth Games. It's a debate, and I'm certain that there are those who will have the pros and the cons regarding the participation, whether or not our top athletes should participate in these championships like the NACAC Open Championships. It's the area meet, and therefore it is they're hoping most times. There's a hope that most times that these athletes can participate in these games, and I'm certain that people like Drumeco and others will ensure or would like to ensure that our top athletes, participate in the area championships. And I'm certain that a lot of negotiations are taking place between the organizing committee and, in this case, the Bahamas Athletic Association, Association of Athletics Association, and the federations, the member federations, as well as NACAC. So, Drumeco, we are discussing the issue regarding broadcast, and you said that there is the possibility of broadcast outside of the Bahamas.
Yes, we are currently negotiating a broadcast deal with one of the largest telecommunication companies in the Bahamas. And it's very, very optimistic that we will have a host broadcast for this event as well. But in addition to which, we are also going to be providing a live streaming for this event that allows persons to be able to at least follow the coverage, if only from a live stream platform.
Mhm. And let's just reiterate the importance. I mean, you represented the Bahamas in terms of track and field, but in terms of the importance of such track and field championship, how important it is for the area.
You're talking about the area championships?
Yes, the area championships. Sorry, yeah.
I believe that this will be the impetus, as I had mentioned before, for us really beginning to brand ourselves as a revenue based sporting discipline. Track and field has struggled in the shadows of baseball and basketball and football.
Mhm.
What we want is we want to be able to create more content, and content is what will drive the sport into a professional realm that will be able to cover cost. As it stands now, in most jurisdictions, we're hosting track and field meets. It's not considered a revenue-based sport, and so we're limited in what programming we can provide. But from a content management standpoint, this is an opportunity for us to begin sharing information in a way that has commercial value. And this is what we want to be able to do.
Yeah, we still there, Jamaica. Yeah. Oh, oh, your audio. Your audio is muted. I think your audio is muted. Somehow I'm not hearing you. Oh, you're speaking, but I'm not hearing anything. I don't know. Um, but I know you hear me, right? Let's see. Let's see. What is this now? Yeah, let me see. I think we're hearing. Let me see. I'm hearing him, but yeah. Okay. Very important point he is making there. The you know the, monetizing NACA, and Rudy, and thanks very much for giving that little push there. But the importance of monetizing, um, NACA is important. You have the best athletes, the best performing athletes in terms of world athletics. But yet for all, I don't think, and I think the point was made. Yet for all, we do not get what our athletes really deserve, And I think Drumeco is on a serious point there because NACAC is the top performing area association in world athletics. But yet at times, we do not get our top athletes participating in NACAC championships. And it's something that I'm certain people like Mr. Archer and others will have to find answers for. Welcome back, Jamaica. The point we made, you know, that NACA continues to be the top performing area association in world athletics. I mean, could you imagine athletes, not from NACA, not in the world championships, what that will be, certainly they bring a lot to the table. Um, whether it is Diamond League or World Championships, Indo, whatever it is, NACAC has its place there. But yet, for at times, we do not get Jamaica, our top athletes participating in our area championships, something like the NACAC Open Championships. Is it a concern for NACAC? Oh, wow, we just lost him right at that point in time. Certainly, yeah, yeah, certainly. It's Rudy, and you say you're right. It's up to the athletes, and so right as you say. But it's really an important issue that I think that is of concern to officials within NACAC regarding the participation of their athletes and their top athletes too in competitions. Drumeco? No, we continue to lose. We haven't. It just happened that every time around this, when it comes to connection with Mr. Archer, we always lose that connection. And he starts off very good, but somehow we lose connection with him after a while. I don't know if it's, but he's in Freeport, you know. Yeah, he's in Freeport. The last time he was in NASA, and we had a similar issue. Um, yeah, it's you know, I know you're saying it's about the money and they're going where the money is. Whether or not track and field is becoming similar to the T20, for example, cricket T20, where we've seen some of the top players are now retiring from international, they call it international cricket, representing their nation, whether it's West Indies or Barbados, sorry, or others, and then going into playing the in the professional leagues. Is it something that is happening now with track and field, where, as you say, the athletes are now going where the money is, and rather in terms of representation, it takes a lot for them to decide whether or not they should represent their country in these, like for example, the Commonwealth Games. A lot of those, barring those who are injured, a lot of those athletes decided that they will skip the Commonwealth Games and in turn will go after the Diamond League money. Um, it's it's something where I am certain athletes will be, and administrators certainly might be, you know, queried. And there may be a lot of debate as to whether or not, this is the right move to make, you know. And I know that some folks will have a lot to say and whether or not it's the right decision, um, and whether we should give them the benefit of the doubt. Um, I don't know, you know, in terms of where I stand in terms of that, but I know it's something that has been top of the table and top of the agenda for a lot of sports administrators these days, and you know, all about the money and in some instances they look at maximizing, maximizing as much as possible because they consider the time frame to compete at the highest level. And I was asking Drumeco whether or not it's a concern for the Bahamas and by extension NACAC that some of our top athletes are skipping our Open Championships, skipping our area championships instead and go to, you know, the higher taking, as we'll say, the higher taking, whether or not it's really a concern. I, I, I don't want to say too much of it because I don't know too much into it. I know the coaches and those who are directly involved with athletes, they have a lot to say regarding that and why, you know, um, you know, there must be compelling reasons as to why athletes are deciding that. Also, there is too much track meets going on at the same time. Well, that is another thing. As again, I'm putting it with cricket. You might say the Indian Premier League, there's the Caribbean Premier League, there is the Big Bash in Australia, there is the you know you know there's Pakistan, Bangladesh, just about everyone now having something when it comes to cricket. It's the same thing now with track and field, where yes, the Open Championships, but there's also the American Track League. There is there's the Diamond League, And even under the Diamond League, you have the Continental Tours, as they will say now. And even with the Continental Tours, you have what is now the bronze, the silver, and the gold. In addition to that, you have the other meets. So it's quite a lot happening, and I'm certain that athletes will have to make a decision as to what it is they will, you know, they'll put into it. Let's see if Drumeco is ready for us again. Drumeco, are you there? Yeah,
I'm here,
yeah.
Michael.
I think you.
The next time you invite me to your show, I'm coming to the studio with you. Okay?
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. But the important point I was making, Drumeco, is whether or not, and I hope you stay around to really answer that one. The concern that our top athletes are not participating in our area meets, whether it's a concern for the Bahamas and even NACA.
So let me tell you, at the professional level, we're always a tug of war with our elite athletes and their programming because their programming is driven by their management team and their agents, and it's really all tied to a revenue-based system. So the duality that we're dealing with is one of national value versus the other of commercial value, and obviously commercial value always trumps national value. I mean, that's unfortunate. But I think that it's instructive to the sport that we must be able to understand the value proposition must be for the direct benefit of our athletes within our region. And before leaving the show earlier, I began to talk about the content value that the region must find itself tasked with having to improve upon.
Mhm.
If we provide more competitions within our region that has the same dollar value, then we are then able to retain the competitiveness within our region, as well as being able to then showcase our athletes. And the commercial value of the sport changes overnight. I think that USATF has done an amazing job of doing just that. And there's so much to learn from that model that allows us to be able to tap into, listen, we have one of the largest commercial market in the world. North America and the Caribbean region will contribute to the largest, as well as Central America, the largest contributor of track and field. There can be no reason why we can't maximize and commercialize the work that we do in our area. Member federations that make up the NACAC family acutely aware of necessary is
Mhm.
for the development and
All
content.
right.
And I believe that this area
Okay.
is
Okay.
really the
Okay.
started has to be debating that.
Okay.
Michael, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. My friend from Toronto, who is also a former track athlete himself, joins me. Rudian Silvan. Rudian, good afternoon to you, Rudian.
Hey, good afternoon, Mike. How you doing?
Yes, I'm okay. And you know, Drew Merkel has been making the point regarding, you know, the participation and the athletes, in the NACAC Open Championships. You in Canada, Canada is part of NACAC itself. I think he also in his starting indicated that Canada is also appears to be a large contingent. But you are making the point, Rudian, that it has to do a lot too with the athlete's choice, too many track and field meets, all these other things. What are some of the factors you think that are affecting our athletes' participation in things like NACAC Open Championships and others?
How you doing, man? Good to see you. When I listen to Drumeco, he is absolutely right. A lot of it goes with scheduling too. In fact of what I just said in terms of money and too many meets. You also go with, you have the coaches have a schedule. You have those athletes have an agent who is sending them to meets. So they basically working for their sponsorship who tell them, oh, hey, you have a meet this weekend. It's in Poland or it's in Italy, and it also falls the same weekend as certain meets. So it's a scheduling thing too for those athletes. This season on a whole, coming out from the pandemic with everything that's going on, it just crammed in one. You have the Commonwealth Games going on as well as the World Juniors going on. When you look at the athletes from the World Juniors is just as capable to be at the Commonwealth Games. Mm. And that's not happening because they had another event. So you have so much things going on just happening at the same time. Then you just had the World Championship finish and most of the athletes leave from there and fly right to England. So some of them, it is too much on their body, right? So it just happened this year. Just everything happening at once. So you look at them now and they decide, well, I'm going to go where I'm getting something out of it. So they use, personal reason over country. So you kind of have that there, but it's a tough decision. It's due to how the schedule falls this year, and they choose, like I said, money over country in this situation based on their circumstances.
Mm-hmm. But the point remains that, and Drumeco said it, which we know is a fact, that the NACAC area continues to be the top performing area association in world athletics.
And you can't take away from that. And that's absolutely true. Not only on the senior level, but it's also on the junior level. Right. You see how the performances with the junior athletes right now. They're pretty close to the US in terms of medals right now. Just Jamaica on the whole, right? Pretty close to the US in medals, which is a very good thing. But what's happening too is you look at as powerful as the NACAC area is, we cannot compare with the rest of the world. The NACAC area, not in terms of competition, but yes, it still go down to the dollars and cents. Cannot compare to the rest of the world. Because they look at it as, I will go to Europe and the treatment that they may receive and whatever it is they're giving them, the incentive that they receive. So we have to get to that place, and we are slowly getting there. It's a slow process, but it might take some time for us to get there where they will prefer to stay home and compete than going out to the US base. But it also comes with it has to deal with finances, your sponsorship, who is supporting those meets. We should have at least 3 international meets in the Caribbean. We should have 3 international meets in the Caribbean. That is so big as big as the European. Instead of our athletes going, have them come.
But Drumeco, isn't the athletes that can make the meet big if they participate? The sponsors will want to be part of it. The fans will want to come out. Just as how the fans are coming out in Europe to see them compete, the fans will want to come out and see them compete in the region. So it's up to the athletes to make it that big to ensure that the sponsors come on board and all the other factors, fall in place. Oh, we're not hearing you, Drumeco. No, we're not hearing you. No, we're not hearing you, Drumeco. I don't know. I think we should try to get Drumeco back up. Let me see if he's up. Drumeco, are you there? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. While we get Drumeco organized.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. but the point being made, Rudian, the fans, I'm certain will want to come out if the athletes.
Oh, if the athletes are there, for sure.
Because I'm certain they go into Europe to participate.
And the fans come out to see them.
And the fans come out to see them.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of the sponsors and all the factors getting them involved, the only how the sponsors will get involved is if they know that the top athletes are participating.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the Commonwealth Games and you ask the same question: Is it why they're not at the Commonwealth Games, but why they're running at the Diamond League today? You're talking about your two top 400-meter guys ran today, which is Kirani and Norman. They're both. I mean, I understand the US is not part of the Commonwealth Games, but Kirani is there competing. Then you have the two Jamaican athletes. They are there. A lot of other Jamaican athletes are there, and then you have that. But then you come to the NACAC now competition, and again, I'm going to come back to say time. My athlete is at the Commonwealth Games. She just came 7th for St. Vincent in triple jump, which is very good for St. Vincent. And that's very good. I think that's the best they ever placed in, maybe in a triple jump ever. However, she wanted to go to the NACAC, but it's school starts. She's in college. She can't leave there. She actually asked, and they said no. You know, so I mean, she didn't even ask. Even if it's on a weekend, she did ask, and the school said no because school started, right? So that puts you in a position now. You know, and that's we have the college athletes too. Is a way. Some of the schools may say no, they cannot compete. So coming at the NACAC championship now, who you depending on to be there? Because your college athletes may not be able to compete because it's such a long season for them. So you lose out on that as well. So scheduling do matter. Is a key thing for scheduling. Scheduling do matter, but you have to be able to put it in. I think that's the best they could have done now because there is literally nothing around them happening. However, is it too long of a season? And then no, you can't even get some of the college athletes to compete because the school is not going to allow them to continue because school actually started.
So how you think NACAC can solve such a well, I don't want to say a problem, but
it's not a problem, but I think the scheduling matter. You got to look at the timetable, and they have to put something out there.
Yeah, but I'm saying that may be so, but the Europeans, I'm certain the Europeans will get their top athletes participating. Yeah. In fact, I'm hearing a lot of athletes from the Commonwealth Games in terms of those in Europe in particular, well, the English athletes, looking forward to the European.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the European Championship.
Yes.
I'm not hearing
that the same
Caribbean athletes in particular speaking about looking forward to the NACAC Open Championship.
And again, is it the incentive of the prize money? Like I don't know, and I just don't want to speak for them. Is it an incentive of the prize money? Is it an incentive that the agent or the coaching schedule do not allow them that meet? So it's a whole lot of things. But I think NACAC now should be able to have a conversation with everyone, including the sponsorship, and see if the sponsorship could allow the athletes to put that in their plan. To be a part of it.
Well, and that's true. But as you said, they are making improvements because apart from now offering prize money,
yes,
which is not probably
it wasn't part of it before.
Yeah, and probably not compared to what has been offered in other associations.
In other countries.
But in addition to that, some of the events, the winners can now earn an automatic berth
spot to the World Championship.
Yeah,
which put them don't have to be a part of their championship. They don't have to compete in their championship.
Right. And this was something,
that was not there.
That was not part of there. So I'm certain that NACAC and NACAC in particular, they are making strides in ensuring that the athletes win. Because as you say, the automatic berth to the World Championship,
and that is the biggest incentive. And that is, to me, more than the money, that is the biggest incentive for them getting the opportunity to get an automatic bet into the World Championship in Budapest next year. That is the biggest incentive, more than the money, to tell you the truth.
So when we look at it, we can say that they're putting everything on the table to
On the
ensure
table. Yeah.
that the athletes participate.
Yeah.
Yes, we may say that the money may not be at the level of others, but in the context, and again, it's only our athletes that can make it, because by their participation, more sponsors will get involved. There'll be more interest. They'll be
Maybe
able
more
to sign
interest.
more deals.
Yeah.
They probably may have TV rights and all these sort of things
Yeah.
because of So it's the athletes that have to make that move.
And what I like mostly about it, and I believe NACAC on a whole is going to go get back on the table right away after these games and see what can get done, what can we fix. Yes, we have the incentive of they going to the World Championship, but where are we lacking? What is the reason why they're not coming? So I think after this, it depends on how the outcome is, because we don't know who's going to show up yet. We don't have an idea who's going to show up yet.
But I'm saying, I'm saying, what else can they put on the table? Well, Drumeco might be able to say what else can be put on the table.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hearing you. Yeah.
Oh, good. I think that when I came off just now, there was a discussion that I was trying to broach, and that was really about the infrastructure of a commercial model. Nothing can happen without the proper marketing infrastructure. NACAC has everything and more than any other area association, but somehow they're able to market a Duplantis more effectively than they're able to market a Shelly-Ann Fraser.
Definitely.
And so I believe that one of the priorities of the area, and I started to use the USA track and field as the model of it. Mm-hmm. They have done a Herculean job of being able to market itself very differently from the region. When you look at the 23-year, $500 million Nike deal, there's absolutely no reason why, even as a confederation of federations, we are not able to negotiate differently with shoe sponsors and to be able to pool our resources in a very different way, in a pan-Caribbean way that we have not done before. And I'm not isolating NACAC from anywhere else that make up the area, but I think that all of the smaller parts make one whole, and there has to be better packaging of our athletes from a marketing standpoint. It is the only way we can attract more sponsors to our sport, by aligning those athletes with these companies. You have Coca-Cola, you have McDonald's, you have Grace Kennedy in the Caribbean.
Yeah, Digicel.
None of these people or entities are being charmed, if you will.
Yeah, you're trying to be diplomatic. Yeah, but no, serious. Yeah.
So I think that when you start putting money to the table through negotiations and contract negotiations, it is no different from the contract negotiations that take place on the European market.
Yeah.
So a part of the marketing, then you need to have a product that you can define. And that product has to come in the form of a circuit that rivals the European circuit. Then we will then see how we balance the playing field. Because you can't tell me going to Monte Carlo is nicer than going to Jamaica or the Bahamas, huh? Or anywhere else in the Caribbean or in the United States.
No, and you're absolutely right. Because even going back to something I was even thinking about recently and saying why we don't have a Diamond League in the Caribbean. That's a big marketing right there. You understand? So we as NACAC definitely have to be able to, like going back, sit down on the table and have some good people like yourself, even not necessarily being a part of the board, but a voice. And putting those things forward so that we can go forward. Because the NACAC Championship, and I always ask you that, Michael, we always talk about it, most of our major like a Carifta Games or even an Jamaica Champs don't have a major shoe company as a sponsor, as a first sponsor. And if you have that's a big marketing for us, and that's what I think it should also be. We have to be able to get that going by having some good people, good voices with good ideas, put it together. And there's nothing wrong with the proposals. Put it out there. We don't know if it's going to hit or not, but we have the major sponsor people in the Caribbean, like you said. We have the banks who can sponsor. We have Digicel. We have Coca-Cola. We have Grace. You have all the major thing in the Caribbean that making millions of dollars on the people. It is time for us to utilize them and go to them and said, hey, it is time to see how you can expand yourself into sports, especially track and field.
I think Drumeco, track and field in the Bahamas, we in very good hands. After hearing what you said a while ago there, and I wish your ideas, you can be part of probably a marketing committee of NACAC with that sort of ideas that you just throw out there, because it's the first time I'm hearing someone at that level speak that sort of language, and it's a language that we want to hear. It's a language that I think we relating to and we understanding in this new dispensation. And I'm hoping that what you said sort of resonates, you know, because to me, and I'm certain Rudian, it makes sense. It makes, and not just sense, but dollars and cents as well.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, it makes dollars and cents, and I'm hoping that those ideas that you just threw out there is something that NACAC can take, because I think we have everything that we possibly need, and it's just a matter of putting things together. Because we have the performance, we have the athletes, we have the infrastructure as well, you know.
Yep.
But just the whole issue of the commercialization, as you say.
And not only we have the athletes, we have the best athletes.
Well, the best athletes.
So how do we market them?
And we have
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Certainly. I really thank you very much for that piece, Drumeco. I thought it was very thought-provoking on that part. Well, I should say thought-provoking, but I think it's sensible. It makes a lot of sense, and it's something that I think, hopefully, you know, that the folks at the NACAC level, the executive level, the leadership level, can really see and make, you know, daylight out of that. Because it's the only way we can go, is the only way I think we can realize the true potential of NACAC and the athletes of NACAC. I want to thank you very much, Archer, Drumeco, and I'm hoping that we can probably follow up on in terms of the performance of our athletes at the NACAC Open Championships, and we really look forward to the performances of those athletes come the 19th to the 21st of August. Okay. Thank you, Archer.
Michael, it's always my pleasure to be in your show.
Yeah.
Next time, like I said before, I hope to be in studio with you.
I got that. I like that one, and I know you're driving me. Thanks very much. It's always a pleasure. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Drumeco. All right. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Okay. Always a pleasure having Drumeco. Really, I thought it was a very good point he made there regarding, you know, commercialization.
Yeah.
And it's something we have we spoke about that before in terms of, because the Carifta Games come, you know, they come under the NACAC area, and I think NACAC has all that it takes, but it's just a matter of putting things in motion.
Putting things together. Yeah.
Putting things together. We have, as you say, not just the athletes, but the best athletes in world athletics. You know?
And the facilities.
And we do have the infrastructure. We do have the infrastructure.
We have it because look at Trinidad. Trinidad is about to hosting the Junior Commonwealth. That means they have to have
the Commonwealth.
They have to have all of this stuff to host that.
Yeah, the Commonwealth View. Yeah, and you know the fact of the matter is that our athletes in the NACAC area are matching up now to world athletics as a whole. Whether it is in the field events, but we know we have always dominated the track. Look at the field events, for example. You know, we have athletes now participating in hammer throw, for example. When it comes to
shot put, discus, javelin for sure.
You know, javelin,
high jump,
long jump, triple jump.
Triple jump.
We have one or two in the distance. It's just that we have to,
get them there. 800 is there.
Right.
So we slowly get in there.
We slowly get in there, and I'm certain that our it's time that our athletes, really.
And it's funny because if you notice a lot of athletes who's running for other countries, the African descent, and you could see that for sure. They might come to the Caribbean and get a citizenship. So that's opportunities there. We have to open doors. We have to open doors for those things because the other countries are smart to open doors for them.
Well, look at the world on the 200 meters. The guy who represented Israel. Israel.
Definitely. Israel.
Check his name, eh?
Definitely. So
check his name.
That says a lot, right? So
and check his ethnic background.
His background.
Yeah. And he represented Israel.
Of all places, Israel. And I know he's going to go back a hero, so.
Well, certainly he will be. And then, on a serious note, too, when you look at some of the athletes who represent Spain, even at the World Athletics Championship, and things like that. So Spain,
Italy, I've seen it in Italy. I've seen all this stuff.
See the black guy representing Australia, and things like that. So before normally the Caucasian that will represent the Australian.
We have to open our doors in the Caribbean, especially for our sporting areas, for those things.
And we've seen how the other countries are, the other areas are, and look what is happening. Okay. Look what is happening.
And they're performing out there.
They're performing.
And when you see those things, it's we have to put it together.
Before we leave, just some observation on, first of all, the under 20 championships, the little showboating by by our friend from Botswana. I saw some comments. I know some guys were harsh with him in terms of him, in the final of the 100 meters and actually looking back and whether or not he should have just run his race.
This is my opinion. This is my opinion. And again, for the folks who's listening, this is my opinion. The under 20 to me is still considered as amateur, because if under 20 athlete sign professional, they cannot compete at the under 20 world championship if they go professional.
But the Claytons are professionals.
They're not. They declared. They didn't sign yet.
Oh, they haven't signed.
No.
Okay, I thought they had
you cannot because signing don't happen till after the season. Okay. Just as the American girl, she hasn't signed yet.
So that's
declared. There's the intent. It's declared.
So as you're saying, there can be a change of mind.
There could be a change of mind.
Okay.
They declared. It's just like school. You declared you're going to, but they haven't signed anything yet.
You can declare.
So we haven't signed anything as yet, and I researched it and I asked a lot of questions concerning that, and so we have to show us. They want to compare him and Usain Bolt when Bolt did it. Bolt didn't do that. And you go back and look at it. Bolt was surprised he's in the lead, so he looked back. He was shocked. He was where he's at. He didn't point a finger. Now the difference is this young man was at the World Championship. He was at the World Championship with the big boys, and he won the exact same time. He never did that. He never showboat. He never did nothing like that at the World Championship. And he was running the exact same time. So why are you doing it at the Junior Championship? I said, and that was my thing is, right? So if it's amateur and we want to teach the youth something, because they wanted Bo to apologize. They wanted Bo to do all of the stuff to apologize for what he did. And Bo was just surprised he was in the lead. You know, so when he looked back, he was shocked he was in the lead. And then he just beat his chest, right? This young man did something different. So I didn't like it. And if we identifying the World Under-20 as amateur, in a sense, because professional is not allowed to be a part of it, even though they're not running amateur times, they run in world-class times, but it's still identified as amateur in one sense. I think it should be as such. You go back to Noah Lyles when he ripped his US jersey. I don't know what the outcome was for that. I don't know what you're teaching. No, all Americans going to rip their jersey now. So there is have to be something. I don't know what the penalty was. They never talk about it. I don't know what the discussion was on that. You know, because sometimes America like to keep this stuff in closed circle.
Yeah. Well, and you know in football, you were say soccer, but in football,
yeah.
If you score a goal and then you take off your t-shirt, you
get a card.
You get a card.
So and in high school out here, we don't promote those things, especially with swearing, taking off your shirt, showboating. We literally don't do that. It's a disqualification right away. Something we talk about in meetings. Something we put out there on paper. All this stuff is out there that we do, and we take very serious kind to that, because it's to us, track and field is not only about running or winning; it's life skills at the same time. If you're upset, you lost a race at work, you're gonna take your shirt off. If somebody says something to you, you're gonna start swearing. So those kind of things is what we're teaching them, life skills, right? So the same thing here. So I mean. And in a way, I was kind of happy he didn't win the 200.
But I was about to ask you, do you think it was karma? Do you think it was karma?
I was kind of happy.
I mean,
there's a little showboat as well, right?
I saw some of the comments and things, and it's like, hey, karma,
Yeah.
But I mean, and I don't know what it is they would have, his coach.
Yeah, we don't know what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah, outcome was,
And I am very, don't get me wrong, I'm love to see them young athletes come about. I mean, something I was talking with somebody a few days ago, I said, because out of this world champion, the juniors, I'm big telling you this, Michael, 20% of them you will see again. 20% of them will go as far as the Olympic Games.
Yeah, remember.
Some of them will never make a national team or ever be in the world stage again.
Well, listen, remember, the Olympic champion and the world champion of javelin, both athletes came out of the World Juniors. In fact, they were medalists at the World Juniors.
At the World Juniors.
I was in Poland with them. Chopra from India, who is the Olympic champion, and Anderson Peters from Grenada, who is the world champion twice, and they came from the
same games.
Yeah, the World Under-20 a few years ago. So the point you're making there is that, yes, you will see a percentage of them will move on.
They will rise up. So
to Olympic and World,
So I'm just saying that only because, so that showboating stuff is for the athletes who they're never going to make it. They never will be there. So I didn't like the showboat. I'm not against the running. He could have even run faster. Could have even run 9.8. No question. And I think that's what it's about. It's not about the show, because he could have looked back there and just trip and fall, like we talk about the silly little things in the past, right? So there's a lot of little things that there's probably some discipline on the Botswana team that is probably spoke about. All of that probably take place that they keep in a close circle. However, we really hope that our athletes don't have that kind of mindset. Like I said, we never seen Bo did it again after that. And not that he was showboating, to me, he was just surprised he was in the lead. Because he expect somebody to run him down, right? And we never see a performance like that again from him. He always on point, because of course he broke the world record not doing that. He broke the 200-meter record not doing that, if you call it showboat. But I didn't like it. But I am quite pleased with his performance. It's a fine young man. I believe he wants to go to school in the US. And I believe I heard, and I think he said he wants to go to Oregon. It is a pretty good school, but let's see what happens. But in terms of performance-wise, like we were saying, Jamaica is really performing on a high. On a high, you know. So that is, to me, is really good to see the Caribbean, somebody supporting us in the Caribbean, not only the United States in terms of a NACAC aspect. We have Jamaica as well, who's, last time I checked, was very close behind them in terms of medals. Actually,
Yeah.
the bronze medal was the only difference by one, but everything else was the same. So it's really good.
Again, the NACAC area is doing pretty well in terms of world athletics,
yeah,
junior, and then
yeah.
and the recent world athletics in Oregon.
Yeah. I wasn't pleased with the article from the chairman. Is it the chairman from the NACAC?
Chairman.
The chairman, and it's like a threat. Like, you know, they're going to regret it. Well, there's discussion concerning that, but they got to understand that Grenada, for an example, is not, the athletes of Grenada is not employed by Grenada. They're not being paid by Grenada. I'm just using that as an example. So if an athlete choose or not choose to go to a games, it's up to the athlete. It's not up to the country. Yes, the country want them to go, but it's not up to the country. So and that's what I'm saying. We just in this time that we're in now, just too much going on. So those athletes go based on where the contract was sent them, because now they sort of unemployed by Nike or Puma or Adidas. That's kind of who they. And it's about discussion too, because Anderson could have went to Poland and actually won based on the results yesterday. Today, when I saw the results, he could have won and fly back to England and through. I'm just saying, right? Not going to do that, but you know, sometimes you make a choice, and he make a choice that he wanted to represent Grenada at the Commonwealth Games, and also probably have a Commonwealth gold medal.
Yeah.
And I think that is, most of the others probably have a Commonwealth medal already. I think that's why you see Era is there. Thompson is there because she wants a gold medal from the Commonwealth Games. She probably want to add that to her collection. We don't know why. She could have gone to the rest of the meets. So there's a lot of different things. People make decisions on there, but when it comes to those games and people sort of giving a threat to them, saying they're going to regret it, it's not the way to go, because the athlete is not employed by the country, and they're not. So
in the case of Kirani, who would have also won Commonwealth,
he could have won the Commonwealth, you know, but and he has in the past, didn't he? He has.
He has the games record, as a matter of fact.
But then his contract would tell him that you have a meet here. His contract because now he's based on a contract base, right? It's like Puma. Puma hosts a meet in the US where he told all the athletes who sponsored by Puma have to be at that meet. That's in the contract, right? So everybody has different contracts that you have to follow based on what the rules are, right? So some people don't have a choice, you know, unless you're injured, right? So unless you're injured. So that's just really what it is. So they kind of look at that too, because like I said, you live in one meet and fly to one. It's just too much at one time, because they left Oregon and fly to England. Yeah, and that's really what they did. They leave one meet to the other. And then you have the World Juniors going on, and the Commonwealth going on, and Diamond Leagues going on. Too much going on at the same time, where, like we said, those athletes is just as good enough. Now, would you change Commonwealth and make Commonwealth be under 23? Because the Commonwealth Games is like an Olympic Games. You have all the events. Now, would you change maybe just the track and field part of it, maybe not everything else, to be under 23 only, so that you could have your amateur athletes rise up and be a part of something like the Olympic Games?
Well, the Commonwealth Games is like the Olympics of the Commonwealth.
Commonwealth,
yeah. It's like the Olympics of the Commonwealth.
So when you look at this year, you consider this year and you say, well, this is what's happening. No, so many meets going on, because some of the junior athletes could have been a part of Commonwealth Games. I mean, look at the 100 meters. But Aaron run and what Clayton run was the exact same time. I'm not saying she's going to beat her, but they were on the same time.
But no, because I looked at some of the comments where when you look at some of the times from the World Championships, for example, sorry.
Under the juniors. Yeah.
Yeah, the juniors. And you look at the
Commonwealth Games.
The Commonwealth Games, you know?
Yeah. The junior take over. The junior is above.
Yeah, it's you can
juniors
see
are above,
that
so
there's a sort of disparity, and the juniors are basically they have been
they dominate. They'll dominate.
They have been dominating.
They'll dominate.
The juniors have basically been dominating.
Yeah. So that's what
Michael, but Rudian, how do you think that the NACAC region should look at, NACAC itself should look at ensuring, I think we sort of look at some of those things already, but ensuring that our athletes, our top athletes, do compete?
It has to be, like I said, they have two incentives. The first incentive is the World Championship. That is really, really big. However, Shauna don't need to compete there to qualify because she have an automatic bid to next year's championship. Shellian don't need to compete. She have an automatic bid for World Championship. Jackson don't need to compete. They have an automatic bid to the World Championship. So they're not going for a bid anymore, because they really automatically will be in because they are defending. So they don't need to go and compete there for a spot for next year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is now. What else would they be competing for? Yes, there is some finances in it. So your finances have to be more.
Mm-hmm.
Your finances have to be more than what they're getting from the European country, or about the same.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it's really going to come down to. It has to come down to that. So they have to find a budget that is defined. The first place people get X amount, and
Mm-hmm.
if you promote that, then you're going to have more athletes competing at home, and not abroad, because now they're not competing for a position now at the World Games. They're really automatically in. It's an automatic bid for them.
Yeah.
They're just competing now for country or pride, and it will be nice. It will be nice to see them on home soil. How do we get them to compete on home soil that is not at their championship, at their qualifiers? How do we get them to compete? That's the main question. How do you get them to compete in Jamaica or in Trinidad or in Bahamas? Because as even in Grenada, we could also host.
Mm-hmm.
How we get them to compete? Like I said, it is time for us to bring a Diamond League to the Caribbean. We have the facility, we have the athletes that we can use, and it's time for those people to come, the European countries to come to the Caribbean and let them feel good. And some of the fans will come. Now, would we have the fans? I believe we will have the fans. The fans is not a problem.
Okay. Just for clarity, I just saw something. A while ago, you mentioned about the NACAC chairman and something regarding some statement. What it was again, just for clarity?
I think he wasn't too happy, and he did call us a name for some of the athletes who is not competing at the Commonwealth.
No. When you say the chairman, are you referring to the guest I had previously?
No.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about Commonwealth.
You mean
Commonwealth Games?
Commonwealth Games.
Commonwealth Games, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was the Commonwealth Games, yeah. Yeah, the chairman of the Commonwealth Games made some comment of the athletes.
Okay. Commonwealth Games, not the
Commonwealth
NACAC.
Games. Not NACAC, yeah. Commonwealth
Not the NACAC. Okay.
No, Commonwealth Games.
That's just clarity, yeah.
Yeah, Commonwealth Games. Not NACAC. No, not NACAC. But NACAC now, as you listen to him, they have to find sponsorship. How can the athletes come into wherever the games is going to be hosted, because it's going to be hosted in several places, the United States, I'm pretty sure, and the Caribbean islands. How can we get them in? And yeah, how can we get those things in? How can we get them in? Because it's a very important, it is a very important, like Grenada itself don't really have a qualifiers, you understand what I mean? In a sense, for national qualifiers per se. Kirani, we understand it. and then he get to be a part of the the World Championship, Olympics, and so forth. Jamaica, they have to qualify. They have to go. They have to have the standard, but they have to have a qualifying period, right? They have to go to the rounds, and that Canada do the same thing. The United States do the same thing. Some countries don't have to go through that. So, do QAnon need to be at the Commonwealth at the NACAC Games? You don't really need to. I mean, you just have to run, But because it's on home soil, because it's on home soil, and it is our games.
Yeah, but the hope is that, as Drumeco was saying, that's the Bahamas, is that we reach to the stage where our athletes in the area, in the NACAC area, will understand, will appreciate, and not just the athletes, but the support, whether it's the coaches, the agents, will understand and appreciate.
And appreciate that,
Yes, the need for them to be part of the process.
To be
part of the process. And I think that, to me, is the important thing that we need. To get them on.
To get them on board, definitely.
To get them on board, because as Archer was saying, NACAC has everything it takes. Everything it takes, to bring us to that level. But I think it's just ensuring that
and that's really what it is. And it's right. It is ensuring that how can we get them home? We have to have that conversation somehow, that the coaches know, that the agents know, that the countries know. Who do you talk to? The countries have to be on board to put the message out. You understand what I mean? To the coaches of the athletes, hey, it is one of the games we would like for the athletes to be a part of.
Yeah.
It is something. So what they do now, they plug it into the calendar. They put it into the calendar. So it's something that they look into. They let the sponsors know that this is a meet I would like to be a part of. Are you willing to sponsor me to that meet? What do I need to do? Because athletes also get bonuses, right? Based on the times they run. So they may want to go somewhere where it's fast, where they get bonus. So it's a lot that comes with a contract that the ordinary people don't know about. So sometimes when you see an athlete go somewhere, it's because they want to get bonus. It's just the same thing as in NFL. And you need to give me 100 tackles. You get 100 tackles, you get $1 million bonus. All of that is part of stuff, but people don't know about, right? So there's always bonuses. There's always things that, it's not about winning. You could win, but not run fast. So, but you could win, right? We started with Jackson. She was in Italy. She won 11 points, but she won. So that's just what it is. So, like I said, there have to be that conversation, and I think it's something that we'd like. Again, let's wait to see who's going to show up. We don't know who's going to show up yet, so let's not jump the gun with the person that is not going to be there. We don't know yet, right? And they could surprise us and be there.
Yeah, but I'm certain that they will get the sort of support.
I think so.
I think they will get the support, and I think even if it's not now, I think probably in the future.
In years to come.
In years to come, they will, because I'm certain that the leadership will see what they need to streamline, etc., and hopefully by the time we come around to the next championship, that we will be able to have more and more.
And you have to also look at it too. You have to also look at it as you have to put it somewhere that benefit the athletes too when they're coming in. Those world-class athletes, right? Again, timing is matter. Is it before or after a major championship? This one come after all the major championships, right? But then there is one more meet next week on the 10th, a Diamond League meet on the 10th, and then you have 19 days later you have these games coming up. So it's all about timing. Does matter, right? So hopefully they don't go to one, they be at one. But let us see. Like I said, we're speaking here. We don't know what's going to happen. Then they could truly surprise the Caribbean and show up. And then you have games of all games, right? But the athletes in the Caribbean is better than the athletes on the European circuits. and it's time for us to bring that home. And especially in the Caribbean, not necessarily in Florida, where I know they had it last year, or they have it in the past in Florida. Bring it to the Caribbean. Let we get the support. Let the young athletes, let the people see our world class athletes on live, and let us do it that way. So yeah, I believe they would. I believe they'll put it together. Like I said, it's timing, scheduling, and seeing what can we do beside they get in the automatic bid to get into the World Championship, because some of them don't need it. They don't need to get an automatic bid, right?
Well,
So,
and remember that
yeah,
some of them, if by virtue of even the Diamond League, for example,
yeah,
if you win the Diamond League in
yeah,
your discipline, you also have a berth to the World Championships. Okay,
yeah. Yes,
so there are
so
there are various areas, but
there's various areas. Yeah,
yeah, but I think the idea of NACA coming up with that as well, I think is
it's a good
is
thing.
also
Very good
encouraging,
thing. Yeah,
right?
it's very, very good.
Because
Yeah,
it also gives the opportunity to other athletes who may not, by the way, who may not be professional athletes themselves,
yeah,
an
yeah.
opportunity,
An
an avenue,
opportunity.
a window
I have a
to make
window
their
to get
way
it.
to the World Championship. Um, Another point I want us to talk on just for a few minutes has to do with track and field at the Commonwealth Games. Are you surprised that the track and field at the World Championships, in terms of fan support, is nothing compared to what we've seen at the Commonwealth Games in terms
And
of
I will tell you, and I will tell
sold
you why.
sold stadium
Yeah,
in Birmingham? Yeah.
early in the morning, early in the morning, because my athlete telling me early in the morning the stadium is full with people, and
What?
why the European have this thing about them about sports. It doesn't matter what sport they support it, and that's
But
something that
but hold on.
yeah,
But we brought the world athletics to Tracktown, quote unquote, aka Tracktown, Oregon.
yeah.
Um, so I am. Aren't you surprised? Because if probably was at Icon Stadium or somewhere in Florida or somewhere else in the U.S., you can
You've
say,
been full up.
hey, no. But I'm saying this is where Tracktown is where you expect to see full house. In fact, a Diamond League, the Diamond League will have probably more people than what we are seeing at the World Championships on certain
It
days.
might be track town, but it's location. It might be track town because when I say that, in terms of I hear people driving 2 and 3 hours to get
But
to the games.
yeah, well,
So that's
I looked at
yeah,
some of the blogs from some of the
yeah.
reporters who said,
Now let me
well,
show you this now.
the
When we have
accommodation,
when
and
England
other factors.
when England is playing in Grenada, half of
Mhm.
the stand is English people. They're flying down to Grenada because the sport is in them. That fire
Mhm.
is in them. So that fire have to be in 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 the people too. That fire have to be there. Look at again. Let's look at Jamaica. National championship.
Yeah, well,
Compared to any other meet. That fire is in them. So the stadium is, and yes, I know the students because they school and and
mhm.
so forth, but you see the difference. You see the difference. So I think it's more to that,
Mhm.
more than to the actual the games itself. You have to have that fire in you for sports. Um, you watch some football games, depends on who's playing. You go to Michigan, it's 120 or 110,000 people sold out.
Yeah.
You go to an Alabama game, sold out. And those are the things. You go to a Kentucky basketball game, sold out. So it's just based on where you are at, who you are, you know. What we had last year at the Diamond League, what we had last year in Oregon, was it a Diamond Series or pre-Fontaine?
Yeah, well, that's one of the Diamond League. Yeah.
Yeah. Last year, in a pandemic, it was sold out more than the World Championship. So I don't know. Is it the name of the games? Is it because, you know? So it's just it was a lot. And then there's a lot of people, especially you have the issue with some people in the US who cannot fly, they're not vaccinated. There's a whole lot of little things that could be the issue. But I think one of the issue was accommodation was a hard one in Oregon for the world to come to. I think if it was somewhere else, you probably would have a sold out crowd. But I just think that's what that is.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Nice hearing. Looking forward to the remainder of the
definitely
the Commonwealth Games. We still have our boy Anderson Peters to compete in the
Yeah. I was so happy with Victor defending and his performance was very well. Yeah. And Felix too. And Felix.
I was about to say his brother also, knowing that, you know, he battled back from injury and all of that. He has been off for a while, finishing fourth. I thought it was, you know, encouraging. That's what my comment was. Very encouraging, of course, Felix, you know, and, you know, back to back for Lyndon Victor. Certain. It was good. You know, at one point in time, it was such that anyone
could have won.
Yes, anyone.
It's open to anyone.
And I think that
like two events to go. About two events to go, it was open up. Yeah.
The commentators were correct. The commentators were correct when the commentators said that it was one of the best they have seen.
They have seen
a long time.
In a long time. Yeah.
I mean, there was nothing about that, and even the points. You know, when you look at
it, very close
Rudian, if you can just stay with me for a moment, because joining me now is the president of NACAC. Mr. Mike Sands is with us.
Yes.
And I want to get from Mike his
contribution
on a couple of things. One, the NACAC Championships. Two, I want to hear from him in terms of NACAC participation performance at the World Championships, the ongoing Under-20 Championships, and also the Commonwealth Games, you know. And certainly you may have a couple of questions for Mr. Mike Sands.
No, definitely.
Mr. Sands joining us from, I believe, I don't want to speculate, because Mr. Sands is a man who, as we say,
everywhere.
Many tentacles, and very busy, but and everywhere because of reasons, you know. He has to be everywhere because it's a busy period now, and if Mike is home, I'll be surprised, because he shouldn't be home, but
should be in England.
From Mike, well, he should be in England or he should be in Cali. I mean, there's a lot happening, and we are well represented, and so
definitely.
Mike, good afternoon to you. And where are you speaking to us from? Oh, Mike, we're not hearing you. We're not hearing you, Mike. No, you have to get your volume up. You have to get your mic on. I'm not hearing you. We want to hear you. We need to hear what Mike is saying. We're seeing you, but we're just not hearing you. So let's see if we can get Mike. I know you have to play up with something first to make sure you get his audio. We're not hearing anything in the background as yet. We're seeing you again. The light is on. Everything is on. And I know you're hearing us, you know, but we're just not hearing you. But we want to hear. And I just saw something on the. The Jamaicans almost. Yeah, Mike, I think you're there now.
Okay, you hear me?
Yes, we hear you, Mike.
Good, 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 good. Sorry about that. I just thought I'd drop in to say hi. I think
Yeah.
it was very, very interesting show.
Where are you, by the way, Mike?
I'm in my dining room, sitting at my table. Believe it or not. You mentioned the fact about the traveling. Yeah, I do live in a suitcase, but I literally at the last moment canceled the trip to Cali, Colombia, because I felt there was sufficient work on the ground here to do that I had to provide my support to the LLC. I saw you had my president, Drumeco Archer, on earlier. And, you know, we, as you can imagine, be in full steam ahead as we speak. 2 Saturdays from now, we'll be probably getting ready to start our second session of the Open Championship. So I felt that my presence here would have been better served that because of what we have ahead of us in the coming days. And so I had to regrettably withdraw from my participation at the Junior Championship.
Okay, we'll talk a little on the Junior Championships. Let's go into the NACAC Open Championships. You know, and we had a lot of discussion in terms of the real importance of the NACAC Open Championships. Mike, and I know you made the point in a previous discussion we had regarding, you know, the comparison. When you look at the European Championships, for example, and the NACAC Area Championship, it should be probably at the same level, especially where NACAC has the best performing athletes in the world.
No, I totally agree with you, and I listened to everything that was said, and I cannot contradict anything that was said by either of your guests, Mr. Archer as well as Sylvan. Everything is on point. I think the biggest challenge we have is a level of communication and understanding with our athletes, our senior athletes, to let them understand the significance of the event. Because the Europeans do it, they recognize the importance and the significance of the event. You know, when I first came into office and talking to some of our athletes, they don't even know what NACAC is or what NACAC stands for. So, you know, we have a challenge of branding, of name recognition. And I'm talking about some of the top athletes who were a little bit surprised when I told them that NACAC is the area association and governing body. So we have not done a very good job in, first of all, letting them know. And I think you'll be very aware, Mike, that we are making every effort to rebrand ourselves, to create an awareness of our existence and the significance of the area association, because there's no question that the NACAC area is the top producing area association in World Athletics family, to the extent to which that you would have seen our performance at the recently completed World Championships, also the fact that Team USA, which is our largest NACAC family, won the team title. And so when you look at what we're doing, you know, we sit back. As a matter of fact, we sit in the stands, myself, the General Secretary, and others from NACAC, and we look at the finals of, say, the 100 or the 200 or whatever. And, you know, out of 8, we have 6 members in the finals. And so there's no question of our production. It's just now sensitizing the athletes to the significance of being a part of the area championship. This year was a crazy year. Next year is going to be even a little bit crazy as well, because, you know, we're trying to get over the pandemic and we want to get the events on the calendar. So obviously the year is crowded. And so, you know, we have choices. We can decide to cancel the events, or we can decide to move forward with the events. Well, if we want to grow the sport, we cannot speak about cancellating. We have to speak about finding ways to fit it in. And if you look at it, I heard Sylvan speak about scheduling. The scheduling is very deliberate in the extent to which that it is on the same weekend as the area championship with the European Championship. So there really is no excuse for the athletes to say, well, they're going to the European. And that was a coordinated effort that we determined that, you know, we need to collectively, so we don't cannibalize each other's events, that we have the global calendar. Let us work together and put the schedules together so that the athletes don't have any major reasons or excuse not to attend the championships. On top of that, Mike, you'd also note we have added prize money, which is not a lot, but we've added prize money as an incentive. We have also, it is a high Diamond League point system, and you spoke about the automatic berth. Sometimes I say, if that's not enough, then I don't know what else is. And even though I also heard the comment earlier that some of the top athletes don't need the qualification, that is true to a point. But there's still that other level of athlete that has name recognition that may also not make the qualification standard at the World Championship, for the World Championship. So we also look at the point that I think the federations have to do a better job. And then I say without fear of contradiction, the federations have to do a better job in communicating with their athletes early on. And I'm talking about having communication, whether it's meetings or otherwise, to let them know, this is the calendar of events for the year. This is what we are anticipating and we're expecting. And then true, the athletes also have to develop a level of national pride, because when you go out there, persons remember the name Mike Sands or Michael Bascom or whomever. They're not going to always remember the name, but they remember that, boy, you're from the Bahamas. The Bahamas won the men's 4x400 gold medal in 2012. Or the Bahamas, Shanae won the gold medal in the Olympic Games. And so at the end of the day, we have to try to embed in them a level of national pride, to let them understand that you do represent the country. And we know that they have their priorities. So there's a very thin line. How do we work, manage, and maintain an amicable relationship with our athletes to cause them to want to be able to look at the NACAC Championship as a meaningful event to participate in?
When you took over the leadership assumed the leadership, I should say, of NACAC, I know one of the things that you spoke about is the whole transformation of NACAC. Are you seeing growth in that area in the context of now that, we're speaking about the NACAC Open Championships? As you say, athletes didn't even know what was NACAC and, all these other things. Are you seeing growth? Are you seeing development? Are you seeing progress, Mike?
It's slow, and nobody could have predicted the pandemic. It's slow. I'm not going to use it as an excuse, but it was an impediment, let's put it that way. And I think that we've made some good progress. I think we've made some significant progress, probably not as fast as we wanted to, because, for example, you would have known that we had the New Life Invitational, the NACAC New Life Invitational scheduled for Florida. And those are the kind of things that we want to do to build our brand, to build our brand image. And in that meet, just as an example, the first one, we had Juwan Bromell that came and set the fastest time in the world at that meet in Florida. We had Elaine Thompson came. We had Dahlia Muhammad came. And, so we'll be starting, and that's the kind of things that we want to do to get NACAC's name out there so they'll understand that NACAC is their association. But we're also here to develop the sport on their behalf and to provide the opportunities. And if we can, and I hear talk about the circuit and everything else, and Mike, you and I, we speak about this all the time, right? And I totally agree. We want to find a way. It comes down to funding, but we want to find a way to be able to develop our own area circuit, even if it includes a diamond league, because at the end of the day, the athlete's interest really is a payday as a business. And so if we can provide a comparable payday, and I use the word payday for the purpose of discussion, for them, along with their diamond league points, there really is no need or no great need for them to trucks all over Europe, just to earn that dollar and also to earn that point. So if we can have that same system within our area, all right, then certainly that will help us to grow the sport. And we talked about this also in the past. While we are making efforts to cater to all of our top athletes, we also have to look at that second tier athlete that has to have that opportunity to grow their name and to grow their career. And so while we would want to have the top athletes in our meets, right, we will be satisfied that the second level athlete who cannot get a lane in those meets to be able to cater to them, because they are the stars of tomorrow. So some of the names that we hear on this world stage today will not be there in 3 or 4 or 5 years, but the young ones that we want to cater to, right, to continue the growth of the sport. And so that is also part of our thinking and our planning for the future growth of the sport, not just focusing on the here and now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, quite a lot there, Mike. Rudian, I'm certain that your mind is probably bubbling now. You would have, because I think when Mike speaks, one has to listen, right?
Most definitely. Mike, it's good to see you again. It is so true, and what you're saying. When we focus, like in your last statement, when you focus on your top tier athletes, we forget the second tier ones. They also got to be a part of that too. But I think one of the major things, like you said, is having partnership for sponsors. I think once the NACAC body has that lockdown, and it might take some time, but once the NACAC body has that lockdown, I think we are going to see some great things happen in the Caribbean. Some great stuff is happening, and I think once you guys, you're on a path of some great things, great ideas. Just stick on it. I'm a humble person saying stick at it, but you know you're gonna stick at it. But push at it, because I think that's really what it is. Once you see you have the partnership with some of these major companies in the Caribbean, it doesn't have to be in the Bahamas. Jamaica have some big countries. Grenada have. Trinidad has. Once we could connect with those countries, we could see some great sponsorship coming in that we can do some big things. Like I said, the Caribbean athletes, the NACAC, not Caribbean, the NACAC is the best in the world, excluding the distance running. And there is a few of the distance. You do the math with the distance, it might be only 5 events. We master the rest of the track and field.
Yeah.
And we are so powerful now in the field events. In almost every field events now, we are powerful. So we have to be able to see how can we get the Europeans now to come to the Caribbean. And I think that also will go with the sponsorship and just continue doing the great things you're doing, man. You're on the right path. And it's just about having the great support behind what you guys are thinking, what you guys are doing. And once you have that, some great things will happen.
Thank you, Ed. Thanks for the support. And trust me, you're saying we're going to be better. We're going to be better in a number of events. You're going to hear some things that we have planned that will take place before the end of the season. And I'm talking before the end of the year. I'm talking about planning and camps and coaches camps and clinics that are also going to include train the trainers. So we're going to have some coaches camps that is going to take place with some of the athletes being present to ensure some growth in some areas that we recognize as our weak areas, and we're going to find some of the best to conduct those. And I don't want to preempt anything right now, but I just want to share that with you. And I know I intruded on your time, Mike, so I just want to say this real quickly without revealing the names at this juncture. At this point, our preliminary entry shows 400 athletes registered, 417 to be exact, registered for the NACAC Championship. And there are some very interesting names there, but you know what happens, sometimes there's a fall off, so I don't want to create a level of expectation and then persons are disappointed. But we've got 417 athletes registered to participate in the championships in the coming next week.
Okay. Before you go, Mike, briefly, in terms of the recent World Athletics Championships, quite a lot of meetings, you participated in, represented NACAC. What are some of the important things that we can look forward to that came out of the meeting?
Well, I mean, we had the council meeting, of course, where we had to prove a number of issues, a number of outstanding matters. I cannot dwell into that now until they make the official announcement that I can speak to it. And all those meetings are really designed to improve the sport. I mean, that is it. Sometimes we sit down and we disagree on certain things. For example, there's a new format that is taking place for the qualification of world championships and also for world Olympics, because the world relays is going to be a part of that. It's going to factor into the qualification process, and so there was long debate on that, and we came to decisions and conclusion on matters of that nature. And then, of course, we took the opportunity while we were in Eugene to have our area, albeit informal, but we take every opportunity to meet with our members so that we are staying in touch with them and we hear from them and they hear from us. So it's not like a one-man top-down situation. It's collective, at least it's information, so they're aware of what is happening and we have their input as to the direction that we see NACAC going, and with their support, with their input, with their comments, with their objections or their concurrence. But the World Championship was a very, very, very busy one. I heard you guys speak to it too. There was some little logistical issues. It was not your typical World Championship. It was a little crowded, albeit that the stands was still not completely full. But the area itself was a little crowded because, as you know, it's like you say, it's Tracktown, USA, but it's still at the end of the day a small university college town.
Mm-hmm.
And so that lend itself to some logistical problems. But behind the scenes, but at the end of the day, I think everybody from the fans that were in attendance were present and had a good time.
All right, well, nice to hear that. And Rudian, just to let you know that despite what has been said, Mike is always listening. Hey, you see, he could have.
Definitely.
But Mike is listening and taking notes.
Let me just add. The comment about the chairman or whoever saying that they're going to regret it. I don't believe. This is my personal opinion, right? When he say regret it, my interpretation of that meant that they would regret not coming to what will or intended to be a first-class event, not regret that they didn't come because there's some penalty that's going to be meted out. I interpret that to mean, boy, you should, like, for example, we're talking about NACAC. We're saying who don't come going to regret it because, first of all, come on down to the Bahamas, enjoy the sunshine and sea, have a wonderful ambiance, have good competition, and take a post-vacation with your family. So everyone I talk to, I tell them, bring your family on down and enjoy the vacation. If you don't do that, you could regret the opportunity to come on down here and enjoy it. That's my interpretation.
No, I think that is the operative word. The regret is in the context of you'll miss the experience. Missing the experience. Not regret in terms of penalty, but regret not being there to be part of the experience.
So, Mike, if you want to, I also heard my colleague Drumeco said that next time you should do it in studio. So I have a proposition for you. You should come on down to NACAC Championship and record your show for me.
I agree.
Mike always hitting one under the belt, But no, it's always a pleasure, Mike, and thanks for that. I mean, and certainly, I thought the whole issue regarding the NACAC Open Championships cleared up. I thought it's probably the first time in a long time we're getting so much information regarding the Open Championships. It normally used to be something that would just come and just go and folks would say, hey, there was the championships or there was the NACAC, but there's actually a build-up, we're hearing about it. And it's nice to know that, 400 plus athletes already registered and, the president said that Shawnee, for example, he didn't know, and it's nice to know that, Sharika, he heard about Sharika, but the fact of the matter is that participation is key, and that is what we want to hear, that athletes are willing to participate. And that's good to hear, Mike. Thanks very much.
Thank you, guys. Stay safe, enjoy, and
no problem.
Available anytime. Thank you.
Okay, then. I appreciate it. Thanks very much. Yeah, okay, then. So the president of NACAC, Mr. Mike Sands from the Bahamas, and certainly always a pleasure hearing from Mike Sands and giving lots of information. And as we wrap up, Rudian, after hearing from Mike, I'm certain that you're convinced that, they're basically on the right track.
Most definitely.
Yeah, what we want to hear is what we hear.
The things the same things we talk about, the things that we say that we would like to see is in the works, and that was good.
But I think the important aspect there is that, yes, they're thinking the right way.
Yeah.
The important thing is getting the cooperation of the member federations.
Member federation, definitely. And then, like I said, like I was saying before, we don't know who's going to show up, so let's not say anything. But now he's saying 400 plus so far. Registered. That's a big.
And what I like hearing is also about the opportunity, given the opportunity. Listen, we have a cadre of athletes around the NACAC region. You will always try to find out when this athlete retires, who is filling, who is next. Hey, man, and we have NACAC is just producing athletes and athletes.
Oh, definitely. We said the same thing about Bolt, right? And then it takes a while before we see some of the younger ones coming up slowly. It will take a little time, but it wouldn't happen overnight, right? So the female we know, but in the male,
But it's an opportunity to
showcase them,
talent. We know who the stars are already, but it's an opportunity to show who are the emerging stars as well.
To come in, uprising.
The NACAC Championship probably may just be that, that we seeing those who we can keep an eye on. You know, as we say, we know who the stars are out there already, but the emerging stars are those who we really want to see. And I think
it's also an opportunity for countries to send athletes. There is, because it's home, you know, send the athletes, let them go there, plan it in well so that it's in your budget. Send those athletes out there and let them go on and get that experience. The experience is a very good thing, you know. So
for those of us who have interest in Carnival in Grenada, it's a nice experience to say, hey, let's sit back and relax and watch some good track and field, you know. And you know, we know the Bahamas is nothing new in Bahamas in terms of in terms of hosting. I mean
the Bahamas
kind of level.
In terms of organization, in terms of people mixed together, it's like Oregon. It's like track and field nation in a sense. Yeah, Jamaica is, don't get me wrong about Jamaica, but Bahamas, because they have the support of the people.
Yeah, and that was about in terms of the Bahamas give you the entire package, right?
Yeah.
They give you the home support, the fans come out, they support. And the other thing I like is that, you know, hey, they bringing it to Freeport, you know?
Yeah.
Normally everything will be in NASA and something like that. So they're bringing it to Freeport, you know, and I think, well, they say, and some people might say, hey, that might be a debate, but Drumeco is saying that Freeport is like track tongue, you know, in the Bahamas, you know. Others might say that's not the case, but
it's not the case, but
But I you know, it's just the whole idea of having what we call a home championship at the NACAC Open Championship.
NACAC Open Championship,
you know? And one of the things that I'm hoping to speak to Mike and Drumeco and think about probably another time, when probably after the NACAC Championship and things, is about the whole idea of the government of the Bahamas expressing an interest to host making the Bahamas the home for world relays. Now, that would be that would be good. That would be great, especially for the NACAC region.
In terms
of participation, you know, in terms
get a lot of teams. Get a lot of Caribbean teams should be able to go.
A lot of teams from the Caribbean and the NACAC in particular should be able to participate. So I'm hoping that whatever support that NACAC or the federations in NACAC can give to the Bahamas in hosting or in ensuring that the world relays, you know, be it at home in the NACAC region, you know, give them the support because it will be important in the long run, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, thanks very much once again.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It was a good session, and we'll chat again. Have a good one.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Yeah, Rudy and Sylvan live from Toronto. We had Mike Sands, president of NACAC, from the Bahamas recently, and then even before that, we had Drumeco Archer, the president of Bahamas Athletics, also live from NASA. Well, he was in Freeport as well. He was in Freeport, I should say, and things like that. So, folks, whatever, if you can make it to the Bahamas to support track and field, please do. That's the 19th to the 21st. It will be a nice weekend vacation and track and field as well. If you can do, please do support. Most of the territories in the NACAC area are sending athletes, including Grenada. They are sending athletes there. So if you can make a nice getaway to Freeport in the Bahamas for the 19th to the 21st of August, please do. Okay? Thank you very much, folks, for being part of the program this weekend. Looking forward to your company come, hopefully, next weekend. Until then, I want to wish you a pleasant weekend and hope to see you around next weekend. A lot of weekend I'm talking about. Thank you very much.